Dabria grew up in a small, remote village in the kingdom of Debrasia, shattered by the chaos of war and political strife. His homeland, once thriving and united, was now in ruins due to greed, betrayal, and external threats. Adults around him reminisced about a lost golden age, but for Dabria, these tales felt like nothing more than ghostly echoes of a past he'd never know. His reality is one of survival, not dreams. Dabria's father was a hardened man who valued practicality over compassion. He taught Dabria that kindness is weakness and that only the strong endure. Though distant and cold, his father's influence left a lasting impression. Dabria's mother, in contrast, was a figure of quiet resilience and warmth. She taught him about the power of hope and community, even in the bleakest times. Her compassion became a source of conflict for Dabria as he grew older, caught between her ideals and his father's ruthless pragmatism. Tragedy struck when their village was raided by soldiers, rebels, and marauders. Dabria watched in helpless fury as his mother sacrificed herself to protect others. His father survived but did little to shield his family, leaving Dabria with feelings of betrayal and anger. This event planted a seed deep within Dabria. "No one will ever control me, and no one I care about will be left vulnerable again," he told himself. Despite the loss and chaos surrounding him, young Dabria displayed natural leadership qualities. He took charge of the other children in the village, organizing small acts of resistance or ensuring their safety during raids. His ability to inspire loyalty began to take shape, but so did his belief that order can only be maintained through control. As he came of age, Dabria caught the eye of a powerful mentor, Eryon, a political manipulator who saw potential in Dabria's raw intelligence, ambition, and a hunger for control born from trauma. He took Dabria under his wing, not out of altruism, but because he saw him as a useful instrument for his own goals. At first, Dabria viewed Eryon as a savior and a figure to emulate. Eryon provided Dabria with something he had longed for: guidance, recognition, and a framework through which to channel his rage and ambition. This created a bond of trust, though one-sided. While Dabria admired Eryon, Eryon remained detached, using Dabria as a tool to extend his influence. Eryon taught Dabria the importance of strategy, propaganda, and ruthlessness. Rather than shielding him from the world's harshness, Eryon thrust him into it, using challenges and moral dilemmas as teaching tools. Dabria learned that compassion is not only unnecessary but dangerous. As Dabria grew stronger and more capable, the balance of power between them shifted. Eryon began to see Dabria not only as a protege, but as a potential threat. Dabria, in turn, became more aware of Eryon's manipulative nature and began to question his intentions. This tension added complexity to their relationship. The relationship reached a critical breaking point when Dabria realized that Eryon had been using him for his own gain. Eryon attempted to undermine Dabria's growing power. Feeling betrayed yet again, Dabria turned on his mentor, using the very lessons he learned from Eryon to outmaneuver and defeat him. Through propaganda, intimidation, and the gathering of allies, Dabria undermined Eryon's support base. In a dramatic confrontation, Dabria seized control, solidifying his authority in a moment of calculated dominance. Despite their shared history, Dabria could not afford to leave Eryon alive. Viewing Eryon's existence as a threat to his rule, Dabria made the chilling decision to have him executed. The public execution itself was used as a display of strength and a warning to potential dissenters. This moment was not just about power, it was also deeply personal. Having been shaped by Eryon, Dabria felt a mix of triumph, bitterness, and loss. Dabria fully embraced his belief that mercy is weakness. In their final conversation before the execution, Eryon taunted Dabria, claiming that his actions will haunt him forever. These words lingered in Dabria's mind as he continued his rise to power. Eryon's execution was a defining moment for Dabria. It marked his complete transformation into a ruler who prioritized control above all else. Yet, the lessons Eryon taught remained ingrained in Dabria's actions, shaping his reign and fueling his inner conflict. Dabria established his authority through a combination of fear and strategic brilliance. Laws were rewritten to consolidate power. Dissent swiftly silenced, and any opposition was met with overwhelming force. The people, while resentful, found themselves unable to resist due to Dabria's calculated suppression of rebellion. Dabria's regime used propaganda to shape public perception. Statues and murals depicted Dabria as the savior of the land and a symbol of strength who brought order to chaos. The golden age that the older generation spoke of was reimagined as something only Dabria could restore. A network of spies and informants infiltrated every corner of society, ensuring that no whisper of rebellion went unnoticed. This fostered an environment of paranoia, turning even families and friends against one another. While Dabria's methods were ruthless, his leadership brought undeniable advancements. Roads, infrastructure, and cities flourished under his rule. Technology and military power grew exponentially, and the nation became a formidable force on the global stage. Dabria's strict policies eliminated corruption and inefficiency, creating a more stable economy. However, this prosperity came at the cost of freedom, as the people were forced into compliance. Dabria's army became an unparalleled force, both feared and respected. They justified their military buildup as a necessity to protect the nation from external threats, though it was also a means to suppress internal rebellion. The Grand Hall was alive with a cacophony of loyal applause for the dictator who towered on stage. Then came the gift, carried by Viper, Dabria's latest right-hand man. It was a sculpted image of the dictator, gilded with gold and adorned with a raised sword symbolizing victory over those who had opposed the new regime. The dictator, basking in adulation, took the object with exaggerated grace. Cameras flashed, capturing the moment for posterity. Time seemed to slow. The gift emitted a faint click, too soft to catch, but enough to signal catastrophe. A flash of light swallowed the dais, followed by a deafening roar. The explosion tore through the hall like a storm unleashed from hell. The dictator and Viper were hurled backward, the ornate podium reduced to splinters. Chaos erupted as screams drowned out the crackling fire and the ominous groan of collapsing architecture. When the smoke cleared, Dabria emerged, or rather, what was left of him. His face, once his most potent weapon, was a grotesque map of burned flesh and a jagged wound running from temple to jaw. Blood trickled down his chin as he stood, barely, gripping on the shattered dais, turning his knuckles white. He was then rushed to the nearest medical facility. The air in the lab was sterile, the faint hum of machinery echoing off cold metallic walls. A team of scientists surrounded Dabria, their expressions unreadable behind masks and goggles. He lay strapped to a steel table, his body battered and broken from the explosion. The overhead light cast sharp shadows across his ruined face, a constant reminder of the horror he had endured. "This will hurt," one of the scientists murmured, her voice clinical yet tinged with regret. She adjusted a dial on the machine, and a swarm of robotic arms descended from above, each equipped with surgical instruments that glinted like blades of silver. Pain surged through him as the procedure began. Needles and lasers danced across his skin, or what was left of it. Memories of the explosion flashed in his mind. The sound of applause, the golden statue, the click, the betrayal. He clenched his fists against the restraints, the agony pushing him to the brink of unconsciousness. But he wouldn't let go. Not yet. Hours stretched into what felt like days, and finally, the machinery fell silent. The lead scientist approached, holding a mirror in trembling hands. "See for yourself," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. He looked. The face staring back at him was not his own. It was a skeletal visage, hollow eyes set deep within an angular frame, skin stretched thin over sharp bones. The lines of his mouth were contorted into a permanent grimace, a macabre mask of death itself. He reached up to touch it, fingers brushing against the cold, unfamiliar surface. It was as if the man he once was had been erased, replaced by something darker, something more, unstoppable. "Now," the scientist continued, stepping back, "you are unrecognizable. But remember, this face comes with a cost. The world will fear you, and they will never forget what you are." He stood, unsteady at first, then stronger as resolve filled him. This face, this skeletal mask, wasn't just a scar, it was a weapon, and he intended to wield it.